Good morning, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for Sunday, April 19th, 2015, around 7:38 in the morning, Berwick, Massachusetts. It's going to be a nice and sunny day. Could be 70 again. Some news to report. The Chicago Bulls and Houston Rockets won their game one of their NBA Conference quarterfinal series, so they're up 1-0. Also, the Penguins beat the Rangers by the score 4-3 to even the Stanley Cup series at a game apiece first round, and the Ducks beat the Jets by the score of 2-1 to go up 2-0 in the series. And it's Happy National Bicycle Day, and 17 years ago today was the first visit for me to 222 Friend Street in Boston, Massachusetts, which was the old Hooters of Boston, first of 966 visits. And 2 years ago today, my grandmother, or Nana, passed away at the age of 87, and she's now up there in heaven with my pa. And that's about it on the news. My first video subject of the day is about the third and final of the three great WCW pay-per-views of 1994, which was back to back to back. Some experts were saying all these three pay-per-views were the best three straight pay-per-views that any professional wrestling company has ever put on, and I would agree with it. It was Slamboree 1994, a Legends reunion, which took place in the Philadelphia Civic Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The main event was Sting versus Vader for the WCW International title. Plus, they had some great matches. Plus, they introduced a lot of legends and had the WCW induction ceremony of their Hall of Fame. There was one match that was not on the pay-per-view card. It was pretty wonderful. Paul Roma and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff beating Brad Armstrong and his brother Brian Armstrong. And Brian Armstrong became the Road Dogg, Jesse James of DX fame. And then at the beginning of the card, Mean Gene Okerlund announced a bevy of professional wrestling legends, including Penny Banner, Lou Thesz, Mr. Wrestling number 2, Tommy Young, Angelo King Kong Mosca, Ray the Clipper Stevens, Harley Race the Assassins, Ole Anderson, Ernie Ladd, Hardboy O'Haggerty, Vern Gagne, Tully Blanchard, Wahoo McDaniels, and a few others. But there was one name that Mean Gene Okerlund mentioned, Terry Funk, but Terry Funk did not show up at the introduction of the legends. And calling the event was Tony Schiavone and Bobby the Brain Heenan and Jesse the Body Ventura called one match. He called WCW Tag Team title match between the Nasty Boys and Kevin Sullivan and Cactus Jack, which I'll get to that later. And then they had WCW Commissioner Nick Bockwinkel for an interview with Sting, and he was telling that the WCW Board of Directors reversed the international heavyweight championship match between Sting and Ravishing Rick Rude, because Ravishing Rick Rude won the international title back in Japan, but under dubious circumstances, and Sting was awarded the belt, but Sting refused. He was going to win the belt in the ring against Vader at the end of the night. Originally, it was going to be Ravishing Rick Rude versus Vader for the international title, but Rick Rude got injured, and that ended his career, so they had to change it to Sting versus Vader. And then, here's what happened on the card. The first match was for the WCW United States Championship. It was Stunning Steve Austin against Johnny B. Bad. This was about a 16-minute match. It was a pretty good match. The ending of this match has Steve Austin pinned Johnny B. Bad after a kicking out of a headlock and stuff. It was a great match. They were pushing Johnny B. Bad pretty good, maybe for a U.S. title run. Eventually, he would get a TV title run later on in the year, so this was a great match. The next match was the Legends match. It was Terry Funk against Tully Blanchard, and then calling this match was the Dean of Wrestling announcers Gordon Soley and Bobby the Brain Heenan. This was about a 7-minute match and stuff, and it was a double disqualification. A lot of fans were saying ECW, ECW, ECW and stuff because of Terry Funk. Even though Terry Funk was playing a heel in this match, he was kind of like more and more like the crowd babyface and stuff like that. The ending of the match had like Terry Funk try to use the branding iron on Tully Blanchard, and Tully Blanchard had also kicked the referee. The referee just threw this match out and stuff like that. And it was just probably to kill off time. The next match was a non-title match. It was Larry, the living legend, Larry Zbyszko against Lord Steven Regal with Sir William. The WCW TV title was not on the line as one. Lord Steven Regal was stood a WCW television champion, but 3 weeks prior at our WCW Saturday Night taping, Larry Zbyszko won the WCW TV title, but that WCW Saturday Night did not air until like a week later. And back then, when they had TV tapings and when the titles changed hands, the champion who lost it still held the belt until it was acknowledged on television. Sometimes they would do that because sometimes wrestling companies would maybe, if there's a TV taping and they didn't like the way it was presented, they could like void the title line and stuff like that. And this was a very great match and stuff. Larry Zbyszko wins the match from Lord Steven Regal from beating him up, like reversing a suplex, which was pretty good. Great match by Zbyszko and Lord Steven Regal. It was. Steven Regal should have, gotten a bigger push in WCW, like a U.S. title reign in 1994 and stuff. But he was a great television champion. The next match was a bunkhouse bull rope match between the Natural Dustin Rhodes and Bunkhouse Buck with Colonel Robert Parker in his corner. This was a great match, 12 minutes and stuff like that. Dustin wins when he ties the bull rope to Bunkhouse Buck for the 1, 2, 3. But after the match, Terry Funk comes in and attacks Dustin Rhodes and stuff. And then Terry Funk and Bunkhouse Buck do a number on Dustin Rhodes was awesome. Like Colonel Robert Parker was holding back the referee. Terry Funk had a long-running feud back in the 70s with Dusty Rhodes. You egg-sucking dog, you. And he would always say that in the promos. And, the fans were, booing Terry Funk and Bunkhouse Buck. Then, the next match was for the WCW World title. It was Nature Boy Ric Flair, who was once again the WCW World Champion. He beat Ricky the Dragon Steamboat a few weeks prior on a WCW Saturday Night taping because Flair actually forfeited the title. He said he wanted to put it up against Steamboat to beat him fair and square because of Spring Stampede, the like double pin. And Flair regained that WCW title, and then they had Colonel Rob Parker with money and stuff, saying it was a mystery opponent and stuff like that. People were speculating that the mystery opponent was going to be Hulk Hogan and stuff, but Hulk Hogan coming in with Rob Parker, they would cheer for him. Parker's a heel manager, but then Colonel Rob Parker said the mystery man was Barry Windham, who was from the former colleague of Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen, and Windham was out of shape. He was well over 300 pounds, and Windham was not in the ring since like July of 1993, and this was a horrible match and stuff. It was probably one of the worst title matches Ric Flair defended, but he beat Windham with a flying crossbody blocked with a 1, 2, 3. Was an awful match and stuff. There was no chance that when Barry Windham came out, there was no chance he was going to win the WCW title. Why would they put this on a pay-per-view and stuff with Windham being way out of shape? Then they had the WCW 1994 Hall of Fame inductees, which included the Assassin, Ole Anderson, Ernie Ladd, Harley Race, the Crusher, and the late great Dick the Bruiser, and a lot of fans were cheering and stuff. This was just to kill off time and stuff like that. Nothing special. And the next match was for the WCW World Tag Team Championships. It was the Nasty Boys, Knob and Sags, defending WCW World Tag Team Champions against Kevin Sullivan and Cactus Jack. It was originally going to be Kevin Sullivan and his so-called brother Dave Sullivan, or Evad, but the storyline says that Evad slept on a bar of soap in the shower and had an injured leg, but in reality, a month before, in a dark match at like Spring Stampede, he tore his ligaments in his knee, so they had to come up with something for the storyline, and Cactus Jack replaced Dave Sullivan, even though Cactus Jack and Kevin Sullivan did not get along, and there was a special guest troubleshooting referee. It was former Philadelphia Flyers player and like goon David Schultz. He kept, and this match was a Philadelphia street fight. It was amazing and stuff like that. The ending of the match had like Cactus Jack beat Sags with a hockey stick to pin him 1, 2, 3. Also, Dave Schultz got involved, beat up Sags and stuff, and it was great. Also, like Knobbs was trying to get mad as well, but Max Payne came in with a guitar and smashed it over the head with Brian Knobbs, and then Jerry Sags was going to chase after like Max Payne and stuff, but like Dave Sullivan, who was on crutches, hit Sags as well. Was pretty awesome. And then the main event was for the WCW International title. It was Sting to face off against Vader with Harley Race in his corner. This was another classic match and stuff, back and forth and stuff. Lots of interference by Harley Race. He did the diving headbutt and stuff, and Harley Race was like a very physical manager, getting involved in the ring, which was pretty good and stuff. Ending had Sting beat Vader, roll him up for the 1, 2, 3 to become the new WCW International Champion. And this ended another great pay-per-view. A lot of solid matches in this card. It was probably another superb one. I give it an 8 out of 10. The only match that I really didn't like was Ric Flair defending the title against Barry Windham, who was, way out of shape. Well over 300 pounds. What would that, to a point, they should have had like somebody else take Wyndham's place and stuff, or they could have had another Flair versus Steamboat match at Slamboree, but I don't think they wanted to do that. I want maybe something else happen, or just survive Ricky Durant and Steamboat did not be on Slamboree 1994. I don't know why, because he had classic match with Ric Flair, but I think they had so many of the legends and stuff that they didn't have time to put every major WCW wrestler on the card. And that's about it on this, and maybe coming soon I might be reviewing more WCW pay-per-views, non-big ones and stuff like that. And probably June I'm going to be doing video review blogs of the 10 WWE King of the Ring pay-per-views, and in July it's going to be the NWA/WCW Great American Mass pay-per-view cards. And I'll be back later with 2 more video blogs. Will be about legal seafood and person I profile Lanny McDonald, captain of the Flames when they won the Stanley Cup in 1989. Have a good day, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Bye now.